Let's move on to lesson 3. And these are equations with rational coefficients. Now, we learned last lesson that a coefficient is the number that you multiply the variable by. So the number attached to your variable. All right, now when they're rational coefficients, remember rational numbers are numbers that can be turned into fractions. I am on page 457 in your notes. So let's start with our real world link. 3/4 of the students in Aaliyah's class belong to a social network. There are 15 students in her class that belong to a social network. Now I want to point out the word of. All right, of means to multiply. So that's a key word that you'll see a lot, and you should be multiplying when you see that. So 3/4 or 75/100 is the decimal form of 3/4. Would be 3 out of 4 there if you were to shade it, and we know there's 15 total in the class. So as I said, of means to multiply. So the equation that would fit this is the 75/100 times C equals 15. Now we know from last chapter that when it's multiplication that you would divide on both sides. By your coefficient. Now you can use a calculator for this since we haven't done our rational number unit yet. So you're doing 15 divided by 3/4 or 75/100. And you should get 20 students. Which makes sense. 15 was a piece of the class. So the class should be a bigger number. All right, let's move on to the next page, 458. These are decimal coefficients. Again, you can use a calculator. So I'm going to draw my line down just like we did the last 2 lessons. Circle M. This is multiplying by 0.8 or 8/10. So the inverse would be to divide by 8/10. So go ahead and divide. And you should get 8. Now we are going to continue to check. So you're going to plug in 8 and see if that gives you 6.4. 8 times 8 is 64. Move the decimal place 1 place to the left. That does give you 6.4. So we know 8 is a good solution. All right, let's skip the letter C just because I wrote over part of B. We're going to solve for K. That means we have to divide by negative 4.7. That leaves us with K. Go and plug that into your calculator. And remember, a negative divided by a negative is a positive 2.3. So let's check that. You're going to do negative 4.7 times 2.3. Plug that in your calculator. See if you get negative 10.81. And you should. So you know you're balanced. Which means 2.3 is a good answer. All right, it's always good to look at your word problems to see where you can apply this knowledge. So Jay, as coach, agreed to buy ice cream for all the team members. Ice cream cones are $2.40 each. Write and solve an equation to find how many cones the coach can buy with $30. So if they're $2.40 each, N is going to represent the number of cones, and we know that he can buy $30 worth. So you do 30 divided by $2.40. 12.5 cones. We don't want half a cone because ice cream would be everywhere. So we're going to go with 12 cones. So now in part D, suppose the ice cream cones are $2.80 each. N is going to be the number of cones. How many ice cream cones could he buy with $42? So go ahead and divide by $2.80. And it looks like he can buy 15 cones. Again, you want to check that. $2.80 times 15, does that give us 42? That's good. So 15 cones would be good. All right, let's go to some fraction ones. If you go to the bottom of page 459, we've got 1/2 times x equals 8. You could also say 1/2 of what number is 8? All right, so this is 1/2 times x, so you're going to divide by 1/2. Eight divided by 1/2. You can plug that into your calculator, but also know that when you divide by fractions, it's the keep, change, flip method. So division to multiplication, we're going to flip this to 2/1. 8 times 2 is 16. Now let's see if that actually works out by checking it. 1/2 times 16, does that give you 8? Well, half of 16 is 8. So we know 16 is a good answer. Okay, look at letter F. -3/4 times x equals 9, so we're going to divide by -3/4. Again, this can be changed into multiplication, and we're going to flip the 3/4. You get 36/3, which is 12. All right, let's see if that works out. If you hear noise in the background, my window is open, so you probably hear the highway. All right. -3/4 times 12. Does that give you 9? We can make that over 1. 36 divided by 4 is 9. Oops, we made a mistake. We get a -9, but it's a positive 9. We should have made that negative. So this should have been negative. See, that's why we do our check steps. So this is 9. 9 equals 9 then. So our answer is -12. Be careful to check your positives and negatives, just like I didn't do, and then I figured it out at the end. That's why we do our check steps.